So I'm actually running SOAP and one together. I don't have any problem with data throttling. I must have, I don't know. I'm happy that way, actually. I mean, I know it's a problem with other platforms. Maybe I'm using one of the newer features in the latest API that other platforms haven't done yet. But so at the moment, I'm using one and my TWS plus SOAP, and it's all working. Anyway, so this is my Rhino for March. Nothing new from last week. Still not doing great, but not doing badly either. I mean, of course, if SPX goes back into the 10, because at this point, this is the very end of the sweet spot, and you know, when only 31 DT left, the sweet spot is actually not that much to expect. So I think I'm just going to reduce the trade. Actually, I am close to maxing out the capital usage, so it's actually, and usually after 35 DTE, I enter what I call the descent phase. So I'm going to make sure that this trade will not be losing, but there's only, 2 to 3 weeks left into the trade. So it's not going to be a great month, but I mean, this market has been crazy. So this one is doing okay. I've got my simpler Rhino called B2B. This one doesn't have any additional layers. So that one also, I will just reduce the trade and get some credit and make sure that this trade is okay. So not much. I mean, there's not much to do. I mean, fortunately, I've managed the trade conservatively so that there's really no problem at all. My April reg is about break even. It's got enough ground on the downside to sustain if the market drops suddenly, although there are a number of supports all the way down to 3260. So I don't actually anticipate a major reversal. So this one is doing okay. And this one still has 59 days to go. And the B2B trade, again, the simpler version without additional layers. Also about break even, and that one also I mean, there's still plenty of time, but the sweet spot here is about 3380, and there's a strong resistance between 3380 and 3400, and then a very, very strong one around 3440. So I'm hoping that the market will stay stabilized and retrace a bit. So not fantastic, but again, no stress, no sweat, not much work, so that's fine. Okay, so let me show you what I was doing on SOAP. This is my watch list. What I've added is now, for example, I want to have one long ES contract, and then, for example, I load SPX. In March. It works if you want to do some delta hedging with the same symbol, providing that the symbol is tradable, which is not the case with SPX, of course. You can hedge. I mean, it's very easy to do a delta hedge with a contract, but I had to implement a hedging factor in case you want to hedge SPY options with SPY options with an SPY position with SPX options or something like that. So this is my long position in a ES contract as a simulation. And for example, if I add 365, if I go for a long put, usually should, yeah, you see. SPX has got a multiplier of 100, ES only 50. So basically, it's like a synthetic straddle using a long ES contract and a long put. So this now works. I still have to do a bit of testing, but that works okay. So that's the thing I've been implementing this last week. And really, this thing needs to go out. I mean, you know, developing, coding, it's endless. So it's time to hit the market, and that's it. And I think it's going to be a very good teaching tool as well, because I don't think in any other retail platform you can easily trade or plot your options position with an underlying. So this is a good thing to have, I think. So this is what I've been working on in the last week. For example, because ES has got a 15 multiplier, so 2 years contract. Yeah, that's it. If I'm long 2 years contract, my short put is cancelled, and it's equivalent to long call. So that works okay. I just need to work. For example, if instead of yes, cancel this position, and let's say I want to hedge with, because I still have my, what's going on? Yeah, my long put. My long put is on what, 33.75. So if let's say I want to hedge with SPY, so if I go long 100 SPY, the hedge factor there is 0.1. Oops. That's how it works. I'm not sure this is correct. I need to figure out the hedging factor. But the thing is that you can really do some macro management delta-wise by going long or short contracts or underlying. Minus 53 delta. Get rid of this. It was probably minus 50 delta already. Yeah, minus 53. Yeah, there's when you do hedge with apple and oranges, of course, it's a bit more complicated. So there are some teething problems, but if you hedge, for example, ES with ES, let's start. Let's go for ES contracts, ES options. Main class ES. Sometimes I don't get the data right away with, on the Globex. Okay, it should be okay. Oops. Okay. So this is yes. Let's say I go long one contract yes. And again, I'm going to go long one put. That's correct. You see, that's correct. I mean, by being long put on 33.75, I'll cancel the potential loss on my long future. So that works, but it works fine if you hedge with something similar. You can hedge. If you want to do more macro management, let's say I've got a ES put option on 3400. But now, instead of hedging with yes, I just want to hedge with a macro future. Yeah. Oops. Lines have disappeared. So I still have to debug somewhere. But as you can see, by changing the instrument, you can actually manage your delta hedging in a much finer way. So I think that's quite interesting. yeah, that's what I wanted to show today. Yeah. Are there
And
any
then,
questions?
yeah, there was a question Thomas asked, do your rhinos still have calendars for like the horn on the rhino?
I wish they had, but when the market runs away and you get far away from the tent, there's not enough theta to consequently build delta, negative delta. So it's, you know, when you adjust, when you have a strategy and you try and figure out all possible um, situations, and a well-designed strategy must have a response for all sorts of configurations. And when it was designed in 2013 by Brian Larson, I don't think we had seen such a long grinding market. So when the market, and you know, rolling over, rolling up is unless volatility holds, it's very seldom a good idea. So chasing the market by rolling up is something we all have to be very cautious about. So because Delta never reached the Delta alert, there's actually, in the last year, I don't think maybe even 18 months, I don't think I've used a single call calendar to hedge on the upside. So that's why for a market that grinds up, I've actually come up with a new idea of using layers in the form of narrower broken butterflies, still on the put side, and that's for this type of configuration, it does a better job. Sorry, that was a long answer to a short question.
So what kind of market condition would you add the calendars?
Well, if you start your trade by 77 DTE, hopefully you are still in a sweet spot, or the original sweet spot, by 56 or 49 DTE. That means that if the market is roughly maybe up to 1 to 2% above the tent, there's a chance that you will have sufficient theta to build up negative delta. But in a grinding market also, you never know when it's going to stop. And unless you have a very, very good entry, you also have to manage your upper expression line. That's why for the simpler variant that I call the B2B by the book, I tend to mutate the trade into RTT style. And for the regular, it's slightly more advanced, since there will be no decision point in the decision tree, because it will never reach the delta alert. Either you reduce the alert level by half, and that can work, and then you trade the regular Rhino, basically leaving your downside combo where it is and trading the hedge. So if you have to move the calendars, rolling calendars is not a problem compared to rolling broken butterflies. So so yes, I mean I know one of my students mentioned that. I'm not sure if he did proper back testing on that, but that's something to consider. But that would be another variant, and I didn't want to confuse, because some of the guys in my group are, they want to stick to simple rules and not go into experimental trades. So, but that's something that could be considered in a grinding market. Halving generally for a full size SPX Rhino, we're talking about 40 delta to flatten the delta with a upside called calendar. So maybe it would be worth looking at adding core calendars from 20 delta to negative 20 delta. But I haven't done any proper testing, and as a lot of you know by now, I don't trust backtesting anyway. So I need to study it properly.
Well,
Any
very
other
good.
questions?
That's it for the questions, Bruno.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. So I can then share if you want. Or any questions on SOAP? No?
Haven't seen any. So you said it's getting ready. Are you going to release it as kind of a production version soon?
Yes, 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 yes. I mean, it will not be 100% bug free, but I think the whole surface works. Now I've put delta hedging. I mean, you just have to do those hedging factors when you hedge apples with oranges. But overall, it's working fine. I mean, it does what I want. So everything else will be in a to-do list for an update later. It's quite a reasonable working version. You can place your orders on the TWS. You can even the executions are automatically imported into SOAP, so you don't have to copy things into onto your matrix or trade log. Everything is done. Yeah, there are a lot of interesting features. So yeah, I think it's good to go. Yeah. I just need to iron out the very last small bugs here or there, but that's good. So definitely by end of the month, this thing is out.
Okay, and then where should people go to get a copy of it?
Oh, that's a good thing because I haven't done any website, nothing. So I'm doing all the technical stuff before I do any. So I don't know. Maybe we can talk about it, Tom, to distribute it through.
Oh yeah, but then you have a forum too, right?
Yes, yes, of course, yeah.
So I'll
But
put a link. I'll put a link to the forum in the recording, but
okay.
I'm sure you can just put it there to start with, and we can talk about some other ways.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Great. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I've put a few download links, but they expire after a week. You know, so and I need to code the the logins and user control stuff like that. So, but it should be quick. I know I've done the encryption already. So yeah.
Well, great.
Okay.
Well, thanks for the update, Bruno.
No, thanks, Tom.